Hey everyone, I'm Dark Quarter, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. So last time we were seeing the nurse after a run with Emi, and everything checked out. And then the next day, well, not exactly the next day, but the next part was that Emi actually had a track meet, and we went to go see her, and she pretty much won. So this is the after track meet thing with Rin. So let's see what happens, shall we? Rin and I head away from the track, Rin remaining deep in whatever thoughts she has for most of the walk back to her dorm. As I see her off, she speaks up. You're probably not getting that coat back, I think. I'm sure we'll get it back eventually. Interesting. Take it as it comes, huh? Very Emi-ish. With this odd statement, she turns and heads into the building. Honestly, was it that big a deal? Emi was cold and, unless I'm mistaken, in pain. Giving her a solution to at least one of those problems seems like an obvious reaction. Though I guess there is a chance I could lose my jacket if Emi never remembers to return it. I guess Rin has a point. Still, I can't bring myself to muster much worry over the whole thing. After all, it's been getting warmer lately. I don't need a jacket. Odd, I think I used to be a little more responsible with my stuff. Emi-ish, huh? Maybe that's not really a bad thing. Katawa Shoujo by Michael Crichton. I remember something that time. You haven't been forgetting to take your medicine, have you? I'm catching a little murmur. You should take it easy for a few days. The nurse's words hurt me far more than the exhaustion of the morning ever could. Than the exhaustion of the morning run ever could. Take it easy for a few days? I knew I should have kept quiet. I keep my eyes on the floor, feeling like a complete idiot. Of course, I hadn't been remembering to take my medicine. I've been rushing out of my room to get to the track before Emi. After the track meet a few days ago, I felt inspired. So I've been running warm-up laps in the morning before Emi shows up. But then today, while she and I were running, I felt a little pain in my chest. It was only slight, and it was only for a second, so I mentioned it to the nurse. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I kept running and finished just fine, so I really couldn't have been that bad. Why do I feel like I'm making excuses to the nurse? Moreover, why do I feel a need to justify continuing to run despite the pain? Really, it comes down to my being unwilling to concern Emi, who seemed concerned anyway. I'm not sure how she was able to tell there was anything wrong, but she claims I stumbled a little. She's the one who insisted I tell the nurse, so now I feel bad for worrying her at all. The nurse is shaking his head ruefully while Emi paces outside the room. Hisao, I know it's difficult for you to get into a new routine, but if you don't want to find yourself in a lot of trouble, you're going to have to try harder. You can't afford to forget your pills, and you can't push yourself too hard. But if I don't push myself, how will I improve? I don't know where that came from. The nurse seems to have an idea. Now, where have I heard that before? He laughs and pats me on the shoulder. Ha, she's rubbing off on you, I guess. His expression changes again, and he's back in serious mode. Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't push yourself, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be taking your medication, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't stop if your chest starts to bother you. I prefer not to have any fatalities while I'm on staff here. A bit of a lofty goal to be sure, but I'm always up for a challenge. I hate to admit it, but I think he's right. I've got to remember to take my medication. You're right. I'm sorry to worry you. Yeah, it is important to take your medication every day. I have pills that I have to take every day. And sometimes I do forget, but it's pretty important to remember to take them. Who's worried? You're a smart kid, right? I know you can be responsible, Hisao. A situation like yours, you've got to learn to be responsible fast. I know. His expression suddenly becomes devious. I suppose you started to enjoy your runs with Emi then, huh? Yeah, they've really been helping me. I mean, until today, I was feeling a lot more healthy. Plus, it's really impressive to see Emi run. Did you see her at the track, mate? She was incredible. The nurse nods, grinning all the while. That she was, Hisao. I watched her first couple of races before I had some business to take care of, but she told me all about it. Kind of you to loan her your jacket, by the way. Huh? Oh yeah, wasn't that big of a deal. I'd honestly forgotten about all that. I still hadn't forgotten it back. The nurse gives a smile that makes me feel like he's just made a joke. Not to you, but Emi certainly appreciated it. And I know she appreciates her running with her in the mornings. This one catches me off guard a little. Sure, she mentioned that it's easier to keep to a schedule with an extra person, but I didn't think that I was doing her a favor at all. I thought she was doing me the favor of helping me follow the doctor's orders. She tries harder when you're around. If there's someone else running with her, she's going to push herself more. And she tries even harder when you're around because, well, it's you. What the heck does that mean? Oh ho, you'd love to know, wouldn't you? He laughs in the style of evil megalomaniacs. Seriously, it's because you're a friend. If Rin ran with her, I'm sure she'd do the same. Well, probably. But that's not the point. The point is you're helping her, even if you don't know you are. And she's grateful for that, even if she never says it. What do you mean, even if she never says it? Emi doesn't talk a lot, but she and I have known each other long enough that I can read most of her at the time. I'll admit it, I have no idea what he's talking about. Emi always seems pretty talkative to me. Oh, I see. The nurse suddenly realizes that he's been rambling and stops talking, looking a little embarrassed. Anyway, you don't have to stop your morning exercise. Just walk the track instead of running for a few days, let things calm down. And take your damned medicine. I laugh as I exit the office, bumping straight into Emi. Whoops, sorry about that. Are you okay? What did the nurse say? Do you need to go to a hospital? Oh my gosh, it was my fault, wasn't it? I've been pushing it too hard, haven't I? I'm a horrible person. The words pour forth like a torrent. She's really agitated. I didn't expect her to be this concerned about me, to be honest. Gotta calm her down, but how the hell do I do that? I do the only thing I can think of. I gave her a hug. Emi tenses up slightly, so I pat her head in what I hope is a reassuring manner. Hey, settle down. I'm fine, okay? No worries. I can feel Emi's body relax as I continue to assure her I'm fine. Her arms wrap around me as if she's trying to confirm that I'm not about to fall over dead. I catch a whiff of her hair. It smells like sweat, or how adrenaline should smell. It's a scent of activity. And a hint of strawberries from her shampoo, I suspect. I just need to remember to take my medicine, that's all. Don't worry about it. It's not your fault. You're sure? Her voice is muffled, mostly because at the moment her face is pressed into my chest. Yeah, I'm sure. I just need to take it easy for the next few days. It suddenly occurs to me how close the two of us are. It also occurs to me how nice being this close feels. I can feel Emi's heartbeat calming down, and I have to resist the urge to rest my chin on the top of her head. Thank goodness. You literally had me worried there, Hisao. Emi, you going to come in here anytime soon? Oh, I'm sorry. Was I interrupting? Two of us spring apart as if the other just caught on fire. Emi brushes her hair back nervously and laughs. Course not. I'll see you later, okay? Oh, and Hisao? Take your damn medicine. This last phrase is punctuated by a punch to the shoulder. Yeah, I'll remember. See you later. The nurse smiles again like he's in some joke I don't know about and waves to me as I head for my room, feeling a burning in my cheeks. I need a shower. A cold one if the thoughts running through my head now are any indication. She was really soft. My pills are waiting for me when I make it to my room. I swallow them without a second thought. I don't know why I didn't think of waiting until it runs to take them. For some reason I figured it was when I woke up or not at all. But no, they only need to be taken every 24 hours. The exact time of day doesn't factor into it. My thoughts drift back to the hug in the hallway. It's weird. You'd expect someone to smell foul after a run, but for some reason, Emi smelled right. That tinge of sweat just seemed to fit her. I really need that shower. Yeah, sounds like you do, buddy. Katawa Shoujo by Nora Ephron. Is that a name? I don't know. Strange that it feels so natural for me to go up to the roof these days. I never would have done such a thing at my old school. In those days, I liked to eat alone. No, that's not quite true. Though I'd like to sit alone, I also like to watch people. I always figured that it was some sort of person I was, but it appears I was wrong. Then again, I also thought I was the sort of person who had a normal heart, so there you have it. I don't know myself that well. Now I'm on the roof so that I can have lunch with a couple of people. And they're both girls, which is even stranger. Oddly enough, I feel closer to Emi and Rin than I felt to anyone at my old school. Somehow I get the feeling that they'd at least visit me if I wound up in the hospital. I focus on the view from the roof, banishing such thoughts from my head. There's a light breeze blowing and the sun is shining high in the sky. The sky itself is a deep blue with hardly a cloud in it. It's gotten pleasantly warm, and as I sit down away from my friends, I close my eyes and enjoy the feeling of the sun seeping into my skin. And then I fall asleep, apparently. Voices intrude upon the edge of hearing. Seems to have fallen asleep on the train. Maybe he's faking to lull us into a false sense of security. Why would he do that? No idea. Still, you make a good point. We should kick him or something to make sure he's really asleep. Huh? What? Amy looms over me like only a short girl can, peering at me intently. Oh, you're awake. I guess we don't have to kick you then. Was it part of your master plan? What are you talking about? Amy shrugs, her twin tails bouncing with emotion. I'm not sure either. You must be pretty tired to fall asleep out here. Although it's pretty comfortable, I suppose. She plops down next to me and begins to eat, like a thwomp. Rin plops down much more lightly. Rin sits opposite from the two of us, a move which only makes me more aware of the girl sitting next to me. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear Rin did it on purpose. I concentrate on my food, trying to tune out the majority of the conversation that Rin and Emi are having. Despite my best efforts, however, I still find myself glancing over at Emi whenever she speaks. I notice how she purses her lips when she's thinking about something, squinting slightly as if that would improve her thinking ability. Rin says something that makes Emi laugh, and I notice, perhaps for the first time, how she laughs with her whole body rocking back and forth, head thrown back, almost like she's about to fall over. I probably look like a creep. It's about this time that I realize Emi's looking at me, her voice raised slightly, so she's probably just asked me a question. Oh, sorry, I kinda zoned out for a moment there. Emi rolls her eyes while a slight quirk of the eyebrow is the only sign that Rin's even paying attention. I said, did you get the career survey in your class too? You know, one of those what do you want to do after high school things. I don't think so. Maybe we'll get one tomorrow. What are you going to put down? That's a really good question. I guess I always figured I'd go to college after high school, but I have no idea what I'd do once I got there. And with the heart attack and all, I'd really been concentrating on each day as it came rather than making long-term plans. I suppose I can safely start planning ahead again. I've always liked having at least a vague plan for my future, so it'll be nice to come up with one again. Of course, that doesn't change the fact that right now I've got absolutely no clue. I always kind of assumed I'd figured out in college that I'd just become a salaryman. That's pretty popular. But do I really want to? That's a tough question. I guess I don't really want to do anything. You don't sound very excited about that one, do you? She laughs as she says this, and I'm caught up in her laugh again. It's so girlish, high and giggly, like a, well, pardon the cliche, like a babbling brook. It bubbles out of her, starting in her belly and working its way up to her throat. I can't help but laugh myself. It's infectious. Yeah, I guess I'm pretty unhappy with the salaryman idea. But to be honest, I haven't given much thought to the future recently. Suppose that these days I've been more concerned with living one day at a time. Emi considers this for a moment and grins. That's a pretty good idea, Hisao. I just thought it down pilot. I'm momentarily stunned, then I start laughing. I stop myself and manage to gasp out a question. You're not actually serious, are you? Emi looks mock offended. Well, I've got the legs for it already, so I just kinda figured. Even Rin seems amused by this. Just you wait, I'll be the terror of the high seas. I'll show you all. I've even been working on my pilot voice. She suddenly springs up and begins swaggering up and down the rooftop shouting orders. Yell me hotties, give them a broadside of the long guns. We're where the gods forgot us. Do you even know what that means? Rin's unexpected interruption stops Emi in her tracks. Not really. But it's all on the delivery. The ringing of the bell prevents her from demonstrating her point further. Emi dashes off immediately, leaving Rin and myself alone on the roof. Rin stares at me intently for a few moments. Is there something wrong? Rin considers this question closely for a moment. After a lengthy pause, she shakes her head. Nope. Oh, why the staring then? Rin shakes her head again. Nope, I don't get it. Get what? The staring thing. You two seem to, but I don't. Great, she saw me staring. Now she probably thinks I'm a pervert or something. Actually, probably not. This is Rin we're talking about after all. Still, I feel the need to defend myself. I wasn't staring, I was just tired. Rin actually snorts at this, but she doesn't say anything. No, really, I was just distracted is all. Eager to end this conversation, I head back down to class. I'm greeted by the twin specters of Shizune and Misha, looking like they mean business. Well, Shizune looks like she means business anyway. Misha just looks like she's about to start laughing at any minute. Up on the roof again, He-chan? You know that's dangerous, don't you? ... That's right. The school cannot be held responsible for any injury that comes from being up there, you know. Furthermore, we could report you for breaking the rules. Misha leans in and whispers conspiratorially. But we won't, He-chan. You three are too cute together. She straightens up again, laughing at my sudden blush. Wahaha. You two are easy to tease, He-chan. Hey, come on. Still new here, sort of. Is it mean to pick on the newcomer like this? Nope. It's to help you get acclimated in new surroundings. Oh, I see. Well, do you have to be so overzealous about it? Yep. Ah, that aside, He-chan, we were looking for you this morning, but you weren't in your room. Of course I wasn't. I was out for my morning exercise, or here in class, bright and early. Unlike you. Shizune looks peeved, and a beat later, so does Misha, or she tries to at any rate. That was because of student council business. You should be grateful that we worked so hard for you. Oh, I am. So, what did you need me for? Not another attempt to rub me in to do the dirty work, I hope. We had to give you something, but since you weren't around, we dropped it off in the room. Something? Like what? Oh, you'll find out when you get back, He-chan. Wahaha. Mutu, entering the room, ends our conversation, and we all head to our seats. It's only after I've settled down on my desk and the teacher started talking about something or other that something odd strikes me. What did Rin mean? You two seem to. Was Emi staring at something too? For a brief moment, I considered the possibility that Emi was staring at me the way I was staring at her. Of course, that's ridiculous. Still, I can't deny that I wouldn't mind if it were true. But it's best not to think of that. No need to get my hopes up. Come to think of it, when did I start having hopes like that anyway? I shake my head in an attempt to clear it and focus on the lesson. After class, I make my way to my room. Mucha really piled on the homework today. And there was a thud. Before I can open my door, however, I'm suddenly intercepted by Kenji, who has just exploded out of his room in a flurry of papers. Hey, we need to talk. Those rooftop shenanigans of yours, man. They've got to stop. What? You're running around on the rooftop with the limbless wonders. They're women, man. You'll get yourself killed running around like that. I don't follow. Kenji sighs and adjusts his glasses before what could be understood as an attempt at explaining himself patiently. Look, we're friends, so I'm telling you this for your own good. But if I were going to kill someone, I'd do it by throwing them off the roof and making it look like an accident. And if I've thought of it, you can be sure they've thought of it too. They're crafty, almost as crafty as I am. I see. Good. I'm glad we had this chat. Loan me 500 yen. I'm sorry? I need to get a drink, man. And a pizza. I've been inside all day and the tap's water's been compromised, and I'm sure you know. So I need to stock up on something canned, got it? But to do that, I need 500 yen. And since I've saved your life with our timely advice, you can at least spare me 500 yen. Or 5,000. You know, if it'll make them go away, 500 yen is a bargain. I hand the money over to Kenji, who nods in thanks and dashes off down the hallway, but not before he locks his door. What an exhausting person. I better go in case he changes his mind. As I close the door, my heel taps against something lying on the floor. It's a brightly colored rectangle of paper. Oh, this must be the something Misha mentioned before. Probably a student council leaflet she slid under the door. However, when I pick it up, I find that I couldn't have been more wrong. Someone actually wrote me an old-fashioned handwritten paper letter. Who bothers doing something like that in this day and age anyway? Yet, as unlikely as the prospect of receiving one sounds, this is definitely a letter I have in my hands. I was planning on finishing my homework, getting some dinner, and going to bed in order to be ready for tomorrow morning's run. However, the letter was naturally caught my interest. I sat at my desk to examine it properly. Sunflower. Okay. It's the first piece of mail I've received here at Yamaku, so I'd feel special even if it wasn't something as rare as a handwritten letter. What causes me even more trepidation is the name of the sender, written neatly on the back of the envelope. Iwanako. I have no idea why she would write to me. I haven't been in contact with anyone from school since I transferred, and Iwanako was the last person that I expected to write me a letter. The last time I saw Iwanako was terribly awkward, embarrassingly so. She came to my hospital room, peeled me an apple out of courtesy, and then we practically sat in silence for half an hour. She said goodbye and didn't look me in the eye when she closed the door. I might have been a natural end to the series of visits that were probably pretty painful for both of us. Every time she visited me in the hospital, I wanted to talk to her, but something stopped me every time. Every time that I didn't speak made the next time even harder. She looked so guilty that I didn't want to say anything that I might upset her, and I never could figure out the right words to say. I think Iwanako blamed herself for my heart attack. That's ridiculous, of course, but knowing it and believing it are two very different things. I told her that it wasn't her fault. She nodded, and I really think she understood that if it hadn't been that, then sooner or later something else would have made my heart give out. Yet she looked so hopelessly sad every time she opened that door and entered my room. So I never managed to say the things I wanted to say. In the end, that might have hurt her even more. Carefully I opened the envelope and drew out the folded letter from within. Dear Hisao, I'm getting married. How are you? I hope you are well and happy at your new school. Everyone here misses you. Almost all of our second-year class got put together in Class 3-1 for the final year, so we're pretty comfortable right from the beginning of the year. I'm sure you would have been assigned to this class as well. The mood among the third years seems to be very anxious about the final exams, even though they are so far away. The teachers are bantering us about it all the time, even old Miss Tachibana, who is, by the way, our homeroom teacher this year. Would you believe it? I was sure that he'd retire after our second year, but there he is, nagging everyone about studying for exams. I think things like that are the main reason why the mood among the third years is so nervous. I must admit that I'm somehow losing confidence in myself as well, even though I've always fared reasonably well in exams. It's so weird to think we are already seniors, isn't it? Time has really flown past. I wonder where it went. The new first years seem so young and somehow really innocent. I keep wondering if I was like them in my first year. I've been feeling nostalgia like that the whole first trimester. There are other things I want to say. I'm writing to you because I felt that there are things I should have said after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. Yeah, I think I have quite enough of this. I crumple up the sheet of paper and toss it across the room. My aim is off, so the letter rolls under my nightstand instead of going in the wastebasket. That was an apology for abandoning me, except I don't know that I really need it anymore at this point. The hospital seems like a lifetime ago, and here, now, I've got other things on my mind. Emi, for starters. It wasn't great to be abandoned during my stay, but it's not something I'm worried about anymore. In fact, I hadn't even thought about the hospital in what seems like forever until this letter came in. It's almost annoying that I've received it. I've got exams to study for myself. I have no time for the past. Now about that homework. Katawa Shoujo, brought to you by Kraft Mayonnaise. Well, I think this seems like a good time to stop. News section. You're not going to reply to Iwanako? I mean, you should at least reply. Well, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for being cool, and I'll see you next time.